Have you ever thought what comes after death? I have certainly thought a time or two about what my body will become when I'm laid to rest in a wooden box 6 feet deep. I will decay and become one with the soil. Although, since I'm an organ donor, my life will have some meaning after my death. My soul might be laid to rest, but I get to live on through others. Maybe a single mom with 2 kids, or maybe a firefighter who gets to go another day putting out fires. According to the National Kidney Foundation, 10,000 to 14,000 people die each year who would have met the criteria for organ donation. Throughout this speech, I plan to persuade you to become an organ donor through 3 main points. First, I will discuss what an organ donor is. Second, I will discuss how to become an organ donor. And last, I will discuss how the organs are used to help others. First, I'll talk about what exactly an organ donor is. According to Donate Life North Carolina, when you say yes to organ donation at the DMV, a red heart is added to your license. This heart is legally binding consent to be an organ and eye donor. Deciding to be an organ and eye donor at the DMV means that you have chosen to make all of your organs available for transplant at the time of your death. It does not mean that you agree to whole body donation. If an organ cannot be used for transplantation or therapy, then it may be used for medical research and education unless you specify otherwise. The donor's body is then available for whatever funeral and burial arrangements the family wishes to make, including an open casket funeral if they so desire. This would mean that if an organ donor that you were able to donate was a match to someone on the organ transplant list, then you would be able to donate that organ to the person in need. I personally think of my family when it comes to becoming an organ donor. What if my mother was put on the transplant list waiting for a heart? What if the only person in the world that was a match didn't become an organ donor and then passed away? You can be the second chance that you didn't get. You can be the change in someone else's life. Second, how do you become an organ donor? First, you need to honestly take some time and know that this is what you want to do after you die. Organ donation is not for everyone, and that is okay. If you still feel uneasy about what you are doing, then I suggest studying about it. Go to your local library and check out a book. There is also a site for organ donors to register on, organdonor.gov, and it has very useful information. Once you decide that this is what you believe is the right thing to do, then you will need to register as an organ donor. This either involves going to the DMV and getting it on your license. The DMV will put a little heart or an organ donor on the bottom of your license, or you could also register online through organdonor.gov. All you need to register online is some identification information, your driver's license, or a photo ID number. It is literally that easy to do. The last thing you need to do is tell your family. This will have your family in the know as well, so they can support your wishes. My last point is what your choice will do for others. When you become an organ donor, you have the chance to save 8 lives. There are 8 organs that can be donated. This includes the liver, lungs, heart, kidneys, pancreas, and small intestine. There are also non-organs that can be donated, such as heart valves, bone marrow, tendons, or ligaments. Your skin may be used to aid burn victims, while your kidneys might help someone who is on dialysis. Kathy Schmezel gives us a glimpse into a man waiting for a heart. With the transplant of the heart, anyone can receive another human's heart by meeting 2 major criteria. The blood type has to match, and the size of the heart needs to be similar from donor to receiver. For example, Gene Shrad got sick in 1989 and was told his heart was deteriorating. In 1996, he went into cardiac arrest while in a field. He was taken to the hospital, and his heart was beating 300 beats per minute. He wasn't expected to live. His life started to Topeka, and they put a defibrillator in his heart, which shocked him every time his heart was beating too fast or too slow. Within 4 years, he had 50 shocks. In January of 2000, a doctor told him he needed a heart transplant. Gene was in the hospital for 4.5 months waiting for a heart. On May 7, 2000, 3 nurses entered his hospital room and told him he had a heart waiting for him. He said he was happy and glad, but yet scared, not for the operation, but worried that his body would reject the heart. He said, "My life was in the good Lord's hands." After a heart transplant, the normal time for a person to stay in the hospital is a week. However, Gene stayed 2 weeks because the heart he had received was smaller than the one they removed. The empty space that the heart didn't occupy filled with fluid. They removed 2 liters of fluid from his heart. Since he had very few rejection problems after that, he went home. Today, Gene lives a normal life because someone was willing to give the life to him. Becoming an organ donor requires little steps, but is a huge commitment. If you are not an organ donor, maybe go home today and think about what you could do to help someone. After all, what good will your organs do in the ground?